From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update. Your weekend weather update is made possible by Caltrans District 2.
Well, good evening, everyone. Well, of course, we're going to continue to see a chance for showers and thunderstorms. Now, most of the activity was along the coast when we were talking thunderstorms here for today, but we could see some more this evening, tonight, even for the valley. And there's a slight chance for even more thunderstorm activity going into tomorrow as well. Now, the better chances will be along the coast, but, not out of the question for a few isolated showers and maybe even some thunderstorms for the valley through the day on Sunday as well. But we do expect off and on flurries, much like what we've seen here today, but mainly above 1,000 feet here for your Sunday, with another round of rain, snow, and wind for your Monday and Tuesday of next week. But I do expect to see drier and slightly warmer conditions by the middle of next week. We'll finally get a bit of a break from this pattern we've been experiencing. So remember I was talking about the off and on snow? I mean, the snow flurries are just going to be off and on. But I got a report from someone out in Weaverville saying it doesn't seem like the storm can really make up its mind. It's like it snows a little bit, then it stops, then it snows, then it stops. And that's essentially what we're going to see here through the rest of the night tonight and into tomorrow morning as well. And even through a good portion of the day tomorrow. Some of those flurries will be heavier than others, and that's going to add up to some decent amount of snow in some areas. But much like that of scattered showers and rain, it's difficult to really forecast exactly how much snow you'll get out of it, because it just depends on how heavy some of these spotty flurries get at times throughout the day. So there you can see, of course, some of the scattered showers even as we go through the morning hours. Now, we're going to take you to around the noon hour. This is where the showers and maybe even some thunderstorms begin to pop up for the valley, but not to mention even some of that isolated activity here for the coast as well. And there are those snow flurries as we go into Sunday around noon. Now look at the afternoon tomorrow. We're seeing less in the way of widespread snow flurries and just kind of those scattered snow flurries here and there. Still some showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms along the coast, but again, things are actually starting to maybe dry out a bit as we go into Sunday afternoon. Taking a look at the forecast road conditions, if you do have travel conditions tonight and into tomorrow, conditions are expected to get worse. Now, as expected, we did see conditions improve along Highway 299 this afternoon and even on I-5. But as we go into the evening and into tonight, look what happens. We're getting less of that green and now more of the blue on Highway 299 and I-5, which means there's definitely going to be the potential for more chain requirements late tonight and tomorrow morning. But it does look like as we go into around the noon hour, we start to see some improvement on parts of Highway 299, but maybe still a little bit of snow out towards eastern portions of into Delnor County in particular, but even into eastern portions of Humboldt County as well, and still maybe a little bit of snow out north of Mount Shasta City and even the Weed area. All right, let's take a look at what it looks like here for tonight. Those temperatures will be in the mid-30s. So as you get down out to Redding and even Cottonwood, look at these temperatures. You see how they're in the around 34-degree range. This is when we start to say, all right, if we see a passing shower, it's not out of the question to maybe get a little bit of a mix in there as well, and maybe some light snow. But again, it's going to be borderline. It depends exactly what those winds decide to do. But again, you can see in the higher elevations, teens and 20s, which really does help to support that snow that we will see here throughout the night tonight and into tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. So temperatures will be in the low 40s here for Trinity County here for tomorrow. For your North Coast neighborhood forecast, those temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. Still that chance for thunderstorms on Sunday, and then we should dry things out by Wednesday. 46 for Smith River, 43 in Gas Key. The winds, not too terrible. Should generally be around 5 to 10 miles per hour from the south. There you can see out towards Hornbrook about 38. There's that snow level around 1,000 feet for tomorrow. Slowly getting back up to about 2,000 feet by next Tuesday. Again, the wind's not too terribly strong for tomorrow out of the southwest at 7 miles per hour. Still cold out in Modoc County for your Sunday with temperatures only reaching the low 30s. So any precipitation we do see will most likely be in the form of snow. That's also the case for many of the mountain locations in the eastern mountains. Places like Shingletown, a little bit hard pressed, maybe a bit more of a mix. Paradise about 42, Susanville 36 degrees, and Janesville about 35. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Haas Farms. Those temperatures will be in the low 50s for your daytime highs, so still cool we could see that light mix late tonight and into early tomorrow morning for places like City of Shasta Lake, Redding, maybe even as far south as Anderson and Cottonwood. But as you head south of that, most likely all in the form of rain for places like Red Bluff southward into Chico and Oroville. There's your 7-day outlook for Redding. Of course, I've got that mix in there for Sunday, especially for the first part of the day, probably transitioning back over to showers. Showers off and on for your Monday and Tuesday, but I do expect drier conditions for Wednesday through Friday. Maybe another chance for showers here by Saturday. All right, that's to take a look at your quick forecast. Now we're going to take a look at some pictures before we get into that deep dive. I want to thank everyone for sharing their photos here throughout the last couple of days. No, the person who sent this image did not give me their name, but I do know it's an Arcata. And you can see some of that hail that did accumulate here, looks like on the side of the house there. So we did see more of that accumulating hail for portions of the North Coast. This is out in Shingletown. Thank you, Casey Kerrigan, for sending in this image. There you can see the deer. I don't know, maybe they're getting a drink of, or just enjoying some snow, eating some snow, I don't know. But maybe just getting some of that vegetation underneath that snow. Here's a look at Calpines near Alturas. This is from Chappie Debbie Mitchell. Thank you for sending in this image. Looks like your little pup there is enjoying the snow. They always have a lot of fun, don't they? And this is for me. I went for my morning jog today, and I saw that part in the clouds. You can kind of look off in the distance. There's Shasta Bali. Absolutely gorgeous. You know, when we start to clear things out, it is going to be a gorgeous sight to see those snow-capped mountains. All right, share your pictures. And, you know, we got a free Weather NorCal app. That's the best way to do it. You know, when I shared that photo I just showed you, when I sent it, I can go to my computer. I can see within seconds it gets into my system. So those get sent to me very quickly into my weather computer. So that's the best way to do it, because then it's the easiest way for me to share them. Not only the way I just did it, but also on social media and, of course, on Coffee with Kruger in the mornings as well. All right, now let's get into your deep dive forecast. We're going to start with this map here, and this really does tell a good story, and that's why I like to use it. So here you've got the area of low pressure. This is the storm that we've been dealing with. So when people say, where's the storm? I'm going to tell you right now. Here it is right there. Okay, that's the main storm system. All right, so this is the same area of low pressure we have been dealing with since last Thursday. Here is the cold front that passed through on Thursday. All right, when that cold front passed through, we saw the very gusty winds that you may recall that we saw on Thursday, right? That cold front behind it then is where the colder air is. So that cold air has been slowly filtering in over the last few days. As a result, we've been watching our snow levels drop as well. And it really wasn't until today that we really saw that colder air move in. And of course, the snow levels really began to plummet as a result. But the thing is, once we saw those gusty winds pass through, the nature of the storm, the way it's been working is this. You've got a flow around the area of low pressure. And what happens is you get these disturbances that rotate around the area of low pressure, and they get caught up in this flow. And that flow is right here, and it goes right into Northern California. So the way this storm has been working, even since after Thursday, is you see these disturbances rotate within that flow and that then moves over Northern California, and you see a brief period of heavy rainfall, a brief period of heavy snow, and even some gusty winds at times as well. Now, this is where we have what we call the most amount of instability. As you start getting on the west side over here, this is where you have the least amount of instability. In between here, you've got some, but not as bad. And that's why today just really overall was not really bad compared to what we did see even just a few days ago. Now, that area of low pressure moves on out, and we're starting to see the storm system begin to show signs of getting weaker and even shifting to the east. So on Sunday, I think we're going to see, quite honestly, a bit of a repeat of what we saw today, because we're still caught up in that flow, getting right here in Northern California. We'll see these disturbances move through, and much like that of today, especially in the mountains, you're going to see a snow flurry, then it stops, then another snow flurry, then it stops. And that colder air will still be in place, so that's going to keep those snow levels fairly low. Now, as we go into Monday, this low pressure system is something we've got to watch, because we'll still see the rain and snow on Monday. This is then going to really give us some gusty winds possibly on Tuesday. Then that moves out and it looks like we finally start to see this right here, high pressure building in. Now that is what's going to give us slightly warmer temperatures and a break from the wet weather starting as early as Tuesday. Then as we go into Saturday, this right here is the next weaker, fairly weak storm system, but it could bring us more rain and snow. All right, so we could see some more going into next weekend. But the cooler air is going to stay in place. Even though we see that ridge of high pressure built in and we're still going to be looking at temperatures getting warmer, it should still be on the cool side, keeping those temperatures most likely below normal. Now, looking at tomorrow, notice the best chances for thunderstorms will be on the coast. Now, I don't want to completely rule out that chance in the valley, so that's why I've included the chance in there. But again, the best chances will be along the coast. So look what's happening. You see what's happening? I mean, you put this into motion and you see a break, then you see some snow, you see a break, then you see some snow, then you see a break. And that's essentially what we're going to be looking at here again for tonight and into tomorrow morning. Take a look at the valley though. If you're in the valley, a lot of you are probably saying, well, where's the storm, right? Again, we have to kind of understand, and this is something I've really been pushing since day one of talking about this storm, that the biggest impacts would be, number one, the very strong winds initially with that cold front, which we saw. You saw those gusts 50, 60 miles per hour on Thursday, and not to mention the power outages. After that, my main focus was the mountains and the low elevation snow and the impact that low elevation snow would have on us. Overall, I didn't talk about a very big impact in the valley because honestly, I never really thought there would be a huge impact, minus, of course, some of you that over the last few days did see some of those thunderstorms and some of that accumulating hail. Now, we could still see some more of those thunderstorms again this evening and tonight, and as I mentioned, into Sunday, but those chances will be even slimmer. So let's take you through around noon on Sunday. You see how we're seeing some pop-ups here? Not out of the question for a straight thunderstorm, but otherwise just some showers. But same situation. You see how we're just seeing those scattered snow flurries. So you'll see a brief period of snow, then it stops, then another brief period of snow, then it stops. Even on the coast, we're still seeing more scattered showers and thunderstorms. We've been looking at special marine warnings because of water spouts. In fact, there was a reported water spout near Shelter Cove earlier today. So yeah, I mean, it's happening, especially out over the ocean as well. All right, then we go into Sunday. 5 p.m. Look what's happening now. You see how it's really even breaking up even more? So you're going to see bigger breaks and even breaks in the clouds and some sunshine, and then clouds move in, then maybe some more snow flurries out there. But snow level's still around 1,000 feet. But look at the valley. We're really not seeing much going on here. But still maybe some scattered showers and thunderstorms along the coast. Now, just when you think it's over on Sunday, here it is on Monday. Here's Monday, 5 a.m. Still fairly low. I mean, the colder air is still in place. This is also a storm system coming in from a cold source, which is the Gulf of Alaska. So we're going to start early Monday morning dry for the valley eastward, but the snow and the rain behind that will begin to push eastward as we go into Monday morning. Monday at 8 a.m., that snow is really close to the Redding area. So I do anticipate that snow levels to start off Monday morning could be around 1,000 feet, maybe a little bit higher. Heavy rainfall along the coast, maybe even some thunderstorms. And by the way, the winds are picking up at this point as well. There you can see as we go to noon on Monday, there's the rain spreading into the valley, but not terribly heavy. This looks pretty impressive, but you're just looking at some light shades of green indicating some light rain, maybe some heavier rainfall near Redding, but there's that snow off in the mountains. This will impact travel on Monday. I know a lot of people have talked about maybe traveling back from wherever they were into the valley on Monday. That could pose some problems for you. Because you can see as we go into 6 p.m., we're still seeing snow. But it looks like as we go through the day on Monday, we're going to start to see those snow levels begin to climb. Highway 299 looks better. It looks like all in the form of rain there, but still looking at some snow near Mount Shasta City. All right, and then of course east of I-5, still those issues too. And it looks like on Highway 36, west of I-5, maybe some problems there. But you can see some of the heavier rainfall, especially north of Redding, out towards the west as well, near the coast, but not as much happening as far as rain is concerned out into the valley. Especially south of Redding. And then 10 o'clock, we still have some of that rain and snow out there. This is going to continue into Tuesday, by the way. And then eventually, we dry things out by next Wednesday. Now, I want to show you this because always the big question is, are we going to see snow in the valley, right? That's always the question. especially when we see these cold storm systems come in. One of the things that I look at very closely are the winds. When we have the winds from the south, especially say upwards of 10, 15 miles per hour, that's a warmer source of air. And that doesn't help to really support, and that tends to keep those temperatures up a little bit. But if we can shift those winds more from the north, that is when we start to see the temperatures drop, and it allows for more support for us to see that snow. Now, I think about last year's storm system, and you may remember that one that I had called and no one else had called. Remember I was saying, oh, it's going to snow, but everyone else saying it wasn't going to snow, and then it actually ended up snowing. Well, the reason that happened is because I was looking at the forecast models, and the main thing that I saw was that at a certain point in time, the winds were going to be coming from the north. They were still coming from the south up to about around Anderson or so they're all coming from the north. So as long as we saw those areas of north winds, we saw the snow. But you see where the winds are now, and the forecast is anticipating this. And other forecast models I look at, for the most part, keep those winds coming from the south through Sunday morning. So yes, as these systems come through, you can see if we see any precipitation, and again, that's the key here because we're not seeing anything heavy. If we see any precipitation, there is that potential for, at the very least, a mix. And this is something I have been talking about over the last few days. The best chance for at least a mix will be Saturday night into Sunday morning. And that's essentially what we're seeing here, that potential for that mix and maybe even some light dusting out towards, say, North Reading or the city of Shasta Lake. You can see at 4 a.m. on Sunday, you see how it's kind of like all in the form of snow? Maybe, not out of the question, but keep in mind, this is very light. Look at to the south, there's nothing going on, right? And even if, by the way, and I will say this, if we get any of that precipitation south of this, Reading, maybe Anderson, maybe Cottonwood, getting in on that. But Red Bluff, most likely in the form of rain. And by the way, maybe Palisadro, Old Shasta, for example, you're at 1,000 feet. All right, now we go into about the noon hour, and of course now we're just dealing with that rain. And as I mentioned, maybe some of those thunderstorms. But I'm going to take you through time now. Take you through the rest of the day on Sunday. We're not concerned about that. But look what happens as we go into Monday. Monday morning at about 8 a.m. Now, we're seeing the bulk of the rain. Look at the winds, though. They're picking up, and they're pretty strong from the south. See how these arrows are moving fast? This is an indication that we've got some pretty strong south winds. So that does not help support the development of rain, or snow that is, in the valley. But we are getting it really close to the city of Shasta Lake northward out towards Lakehead. And of course, plenty of snow, places like Weaverville, Big Bar, Hayfork, right? This is where we see problems on Highway 299 possibly, and not to mention on I-5 north of Reading, Monday morning. Okay, then we go into Monday around noon. Now we're seeing the heavier rainfall, maybe some gusty winds, and of course that snow is still fairly low. Look at that out towards Weaverville. Even it looks like Hayfork more in the form of rain, but you get the idea. We're still seeing those fairly low snow levels. But the snow levels will, as I mentioned, will rise through the day, especially for Monday afternoon. Looking at the rainfall totals, it's not picking up on much here to the north and east, again because that's mainly going to be in the form of snow. But through Monday night, I'm anticipating upwards of an inch, especially around Reading, maybe not as much heading to the south, upwards of maybe about 1/4 of an inch of rainfall, but I do expect a lot more rainfall out along the coast. And looking at the snowfall totals, now through Sunday, I think these numbers are fairly accurate. But again, many times, as I kind of stutter around that, but many times, when we have scattered showers, I always then, when I start to show the rain totals, I'll say, boy, these rain totals are going to be something you have to take with a total grain of salt because it depends on who sees these scattered showers, right? So it's really difficult for the forecast model for us to know exactly how much rain everyone's going to see. Well, that's kind of the same situation that we're dealing here with the snow. Remember I was talking about how it kind of snows a little bit, then it stops, then it snows, then it stops? And some of us will see some get in the path of more of these little flurries than others. So to say that we're going to get 4 to 8 inches of snow in Hayfork and Weaverville, that's a tough call. I mean, we've already seen several inches in both those areas, but we could be looking at more as we take you through tonight and not to mention into tomorrow. So again, take these with a grain of salt, but bottom line, I'm not expecting a ton of snow, and I mean by a ton of snow, over 1 foot for many areas. But then as we go into Monday, that is going to add to those totals here. keeping those snow levels fairly low. So Monday is kind of this new development that we haven't really taken notice of until today, really. And now we take a look at the Sierra. You've been hearing about this probably the last several days. Just want to kind of show you on a graphical aspect. There's the spine of the Sierra right there. And look at all of that snow coming on in. Up to 10 feet of snow is forecast at the end of this series of storms by around Tuesday into Wednesday. Take a look at the storm impacts for tomorrow. So they will improve a little bit, but still most likely some chain requirements out there. And by the way, taking you into your Monday, they actually get a little bit worse because, again, remember you saw how heavy that snow is going to be as we take you into especially Monday morning. Now the winds, not so much of a big factor for your Sunday. They may be a little gusty off to the east here, but overall not a big deal. But by Monday, look what happens. See that storm system coming in? There's Monday around noon. Gusty winds to the north, even the valley seeing gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour, even along the coast as well. And then going into even Monday night, still some gusty winds. I think these winds may even stay in place or still be a factor going into next Tuesday. You saw that area of low pressure to our north. That could play a factor. So there's Monday, right? Talking about that heavy snow, especially in the morning. That's that area of low pressure I was talking about. That low pressure system may help to give us some gusty winds as it moves kind of down to the south and east, and that will also bring us a chance for some of those showers in the valley, and not to mention snow in the mountains. Then, there it is. Look at Wednesday. We dry things out, and we keep it dry for Thursday, Friday of next week as we have this high pressure building in. But there it is, another storm system, a weak one, coming in next Saturday, and hey, maybe that one coming in behind it on Sunday. This one actually looks pretty strong, so we'll have to kind of see what that develops into as we get closer to next weekend. Now we're kind of going way ahead here. Here's the forecast rainfall totals long range going through next Wednesday. I think we could see about a half an inch to even over an inch in some spots here for the valley, 2 to 3, maybe even upwards of 4 inches out along the coast. And of course, keep in mind we're dealing with snow in the mountains, so we don't tend to see the forecast rainfall totals out of that. Taking a look at your above normal rainfall as we go in the March 8th to the March 12th range here. So we still have that chance for some precipitation in the long range forecast. Here are your wave heights for your Sunday. They're actually starting to decrease, so that certainly is some good news. If you do need to be out on a small boat, they decrease even more going into your Monday. All right, so here's your marine forecast for your Sunday. Southwest winds at about 5 to 15 knots. Waves from the west at 11 feet at 12 seconds. There's a small craft advisory, by the way, for Sunday into Monday morning. But again, as you saw, those wave heights will really start to drop significantly by Monday. Here's your 7-day outlook for the valley. There's that mix possibly on Sunday for Redding. I've got that mix in there for Red Bluff, but again, that's mainly going to be in the form of showers as you start. Cottonwood, Anderson, yeah, sure, possibly. And then maybe some showers again, not maybe. There will be showers on Monday. Not to mention Tuesday. We dry things out for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then maybe another chance for showers by next weekend. There's the chance for thunderstorms for the coast, maybe even inland with a bit of that mix. Snow levels, as you can see, will start to slowly climb as we go into Tuesday before we do dry things out by next Wednesday. Looking at your 7-day outlook for Mount Shasta, Alturas, and Susanville, also seeing the rise in those snow levels, drying out by next Wednesday through Friday, maybe another chance for showers by Saturday.